Ted, my friend, it's a pleasure to see you. It's been far too long.
That it has. It's also awesome when technology works the way it's supposed to, right?
You know, God bless. We're here for the challenge, my friend. I'm going to fade to back. You tell us how cool payments is, because you and I both agree we work in the coolest space there is. So let's energize people about how it's not all the darkness. There's the fun stuff too.
There's all sorts of fun stuff going on. Thank you, Melissa, for
Take it
uh,
away.
for having me on today.
Of course.
Everybody. So I'm Tedd Huff, as Melissa probably did a really good intro. I've been doing this for well over 2.5 decades, and I've worked everywhere from scrappy startups to major corporations like TSYS and Global and a handful of others. And one of the things that this experience has given me is an insight into how payments can drive growth, innovation, customer loyalty in the payments industry. And really, that's what I'm excited to share with you today. Today, we're going to talk about how we can make payments a growth engine for business. And payments are, of course, a necessity, but they're much, much more than that. They're an opportunity to engage your customers, build loyalty, increase your bottom line, and we're going to show you how payment strategies can be used by big players, and they can work for any size of business, even on a budget. But let's first talk about why payments matter. Payments matter because, well, truthfully, that's how we all get paid. That's how we pay the bills. But today, payments are not a nice to have, they're a must have. And we tend to look at that as being the end point where we make that sale, that transaction happens, and then we ship the goods or we provide the virtual good or we provide the service. And then it kind of just stops from there. The really good thing about payments is it can actually create a very, very positive customer experience. I like to use ASOS as an example. They're a global retailer in fashion, and one of the things that they did, and I've seen this happen multiple times as well, is they introduced a one-click checkout process, which might seem like something small, but it was a real game changer for them, and it has been for a lot of my clients as well. This changed their cart abandonment rate and dropped it by 50%. And it also increased their conversions by over 20%. Now, this simple payment optimization is something you would think, oh, yeah, that just makes total sense. But what they were able to do is leverage previous experiences and other information about the customer to be able to make a decision on how much friction that they wanted to put into that process. And by making it super smooth after having good customers, repeat customers come back, they were able to speed up and increase that conversion rates, which also made their email marketing campaigns work much, much better because they were able to target them. And the reason why they were able to target them is I'm going to move into the data side of the house. I'm a data geek at heart. I love sitting down and figuring out the correlations and causations between these things. And, we talked about the payments being the starting point of this journey. It isn't just the shopping and scrolling through and looking at things, but once that payment's been made, that's when you really start to get the story from what they're buying, how often they're buying it, what method they use to make the purchase. And really, this is an opportunity to really tailor the experience going forward. Now, what this has also been able to do for folks like Book Depository, which is an online bookstore that competes head to head with our fun friends at Amazon, they use the book purchasing history as a way to suggest bundles. And by bundling those together, they're able to increase their cart size. And what they found also is that it would be able to suggest other things, which led to a 30% increase in cross-selling different genres of books by leveraging that transactional piece. When they looked at the card types that were being used, they were looking at the payment methods that were being used. They were able to identify commonalities across the board of all their customers to figure out what books were being read by who, and a whole bunch of other fun things. Not only that, but they were able to see how long it took. So if a customer had bought one book this week, bought another one the week after, bought another one 2 weeks later, they knew that something was off if that customer bought 10 books all within a couple days. So they were able to see some of those pieces as well by leveraging that data. Now, not only did they use that data for that piece of it, but they also got a perspective on how to predict what the customers will want even before the customers even knew it, which I know could sound a little creepy, but it's really great when you finish a book and right before you're about to finish it, you get a suggestion for another one that just sounds perfectly right. So, we've talked about making the journey nice, speeding up, conversions, making it secure, understanding that. But what this really does is it creates that trust, which in turn creates loyalty. And we can leverage payment transactions to be more than just the transactions we talked about, but really build the loyal customers. And that is a strategy that gets used very, very frequently. An example is, going outside of just payment acquiring and acquiring that transaction and getting the purchases. There are other folks that have realized that in order to expand out that we can offer their gift cards. They can offer other types of payment methods that tie into that to build on that loyalty, whether it be a points program or something around the purchase that also allows companies like Sephora to increase their customer value or their customer card or lifetime value of being about 15% more. And the main reason behind that is by having their points program and their card programs gives them a reason to come back. It earns points every time they make a purchase. They get to use it for a better experience. There are other pieces that gets them access to special events and a whole bunch of other different things. One of the things that also happens in a handful of other areas is you get exclusive products and services, and really being able to leverage that and being able to look at the payments and look at the lifetime of those payments from your customers, you're able to see who are the big spenders, who are the ones that have been gone for a long time, and really leverage that data to figure out how to rekindle that loyalty from the back time. We have all of these transactions and the relationship, and you've built that loyalty. But when it comes to the back of the house side of things, wow, that was fun today. Really, the idea is like, how do you streamline this? You don't have to be a giant company like Sephora or ASOS to really streamline the payments. It doesn't matter the size. You can really look at a number of different things. Look at providers, look at payment orchestration, look at different ways to look at the data to secure and safely work with your customers and really find out who they are. We've worked with, at my company, Bolivia, we've worked with small online retailers. One had a massive issue with cart abandonment. And when we looked through it, their payment process was super clunky. And the customers that were visiting were getting frustrated. They had to re-enter card information. They had to verify themselves multiple times throughout the process. And really, they would get to the end, they would get options. They would get too many options for payment processing. You would see wallets, you would see buy now, pay later, you would see a choice of different credit cards, different buy one-click pay buttons. It just really was all over the place. And by fine-tuning that and looking at that customer's behavior, it was easier to provide a preferred method first and then be able to offer the ability to say more payments here versus like the NASCAR experience where you have logos everywhere and you're trying to figure out which one you want to use. They were able to fine tune that down. Now, by doing that, their cart abandonment rate dropped by 40%. So That also turned into a 25% increase in about 3 months. And this just really goes to show that even minor changes in the process of what you offer, how you offer it, types of friction that you put in place can really create some major improvements. And we all are this way. You know, me as a consumer, you as a consumer, we expect things to be quick, to be easy, to be secure, to not have to prove who we are every single time. And this expectation can set you apart if you really work hard to meet that expectation of bringing that in. And the big piece with this is it's not industry specific. One size fit all doesn't work. We try to create these procedures. We try to create these flows, and it's not really specific. But we really need to make them specific. You know, transactions that are larger, maybe it's an opportunity to offer some sort of installment program. Maybe you do display another opportunity to purchase. Maybe you choose the right card that suits that customer the best. Now, by doing that, companies like Wayfair, when they offered a flexible payment option, whether it was financing, card, PayPal, you name it, anything that gave them that piece that was tailored to that customer, they saw their sales on these items of higher value increase by over 20%. And more what that really allowed them to do is give the same functionality as you would have at other places in person purchases. And this same principle can apply in a number of different industries. You just need to make sure you're tailoring your payment options to make it easier for them to say yes. You know, one of the things that we were able to do also is work with a auto repair software company, and their customers were coming in for frequent pieces. So they had a number of different items going on, but they didn't always have the person there in person. So what we were able to do is put together and design a purchasing program that allowed them to keep the card on file and then verify the user. And this really transformed the way that they were able to provide the servicing and move things on a lot quicker. And it made their customers a lot happier because now they weren't waiting to check out. They were getting the keys to the vehicle and they were moving on their way. And the same thing went for all of their rentals, or I shouldn't call them rentals, they were actually loaner vehicles. So if there was a traffic ticket or if there was a toll, that they were able to take care of that without having to make phone calls and clean that up, which sped up the process of collections for the auto dealership, but it also made it a lot easier for the consumer to not have to worry about handing another card over, making another call. Now, we've talked about all these different things, and really what this all comes into is making these payments personal. The best payment experiences are the ones that are tailored. Preferences, creating seamless experience, and no matter how they choose to shop. You know, there are a number of different things that come into play, and you're seeing this more and more where people have taken the Starbucks approach, where they're allowing customers to order and pay through their phone. Like I just last night ordered food and dinner while we were handing out candy for Halloween to simply get that food delivered while we were handing out the candy. Now, that app that I used makes it easy for me to frequently come back. Not only that, but it tracked my loyalty points. It provides me custom offers based on the behaviors that I have. So yes, we may often order pizza on a Friday night, and Thursday, lo and behold, we typically get some sort of notification if there is a deal or a discount that we might be able to get from our favorite pizza place. And this convenience really keeps us coming back to using that specific app because it just makes it easier for us. And providing the options that they do for my payment methods really aligns with my preferences, which you look at it as that you should be aligning with the preferences of your customers so that they feel valued every time that they come in. Now, making payments personal can be hard, but it doesn't have to be. And when you track and you manage these pieces, whether it be a loyalty points or whether it just be through advertising or notifications, you really can do that. But when you start talking about all of this data and holding all of this internally and in systems and all these different pieces, we really have to look at how do we enhance security while maintaining the speed. And security is critical because without that security, you're going to have an opportunity for many losses and maybe even having to shut down the business. And you don't want to sacrifice the experience for security. And so you have to find that balance between the two. You know, there are a number of clients that have implemented advanced fraud detection, reducing chargebacks, reducing fraudulent transactions, reducing losses, and shipping out items for false transactions. So they've been able to do that a lot. And they've done it all without slowing down the payment process. And really what that does is it shows their customers that their transactions are both fast and secure. And as I mentioned before, trust is a major, major factor in consumer loyalty, especially when we talk about payments and our money. And I don't know about you, but with me, when I feel like my information is safe, I'm more likely to return. If I feel it's a little sketchy, and yes, I've been one of those guys that clicked on that link on Facebook and decided I was going to make a purchase. And I was like, maybe this isn't the best idea for me, but I went ahead and did it anyways. But I never really went back to it again because I was a little concerned with that. But by providing some sort of by providing a robust payment security system, this really allows you to bring in that trusted process without compromising on the conveniences that the customers are looking for. So when we're looking at this, we really want to look at adding flexibility in the different ways that they can do it, offer choices, installment payments, buy now, pay later, different card types, subscription services, you name it. The different ways that you can offer that information makes it so much easier for you. And these all go across the board in many, many different areas, whether it be at your gym, where you get to pay monthly versus annually, whether you get to have additional services one month but not the next month, whether you're able to pause it when you need to pause it. These types of flexibility in the subscription side of the services is really attractive to those who are really hesitant about signing up for a long-term agreement. But it also provides the flexibility that gives them the comfort of being able to have the service when they want to serve the service. One of the really cool things that happened to me recently is that I have an annual subscription with a software, and I didn't sign up for it to be rebilled at the end of the month. And instead of them just going ahead, what they did is they sent me this great email saying, hey, hopefully you're having a great experience. Click here to approve us to bill you for this year. Now, I was having a great time with that product and service, so I went ahead and clicked the button. But the fact that I got that message versus them just billing me and giving me the opportunity to cancel at that point made it really, really nice. Now, one of the things that I haven't talked about is how things change country to country and all over the different regions of the world. And one of the important pieces as you're looking at payments is that payments in different parts of the world are handled differently. They're all looked at differently. The consumer has different expectations and experiences. And with that, by expanding outside of your standard geographic area, you can see increases in your overall business. Just letting them know that you're available to make those payments from them. Now, e-commerce is generally that way, but you can do some really neat things by looking at your payment data to identify markets that are opportunities for growth. And there have been a couple of companies, and I'll use one as an example. Etsy, when they decided that they wanted to grow and expand outside of US domestic, they made that adjustment to do near border expansion and increase their business by over 35% by expanding that piece out. And whether you decide you want to target a neighboring country or a brand new continent, you're going to look at adapting to the local payment process, the local payment methods to make those customers feel comfortable and confident from buying from you. And I'd like to move to step into, what could be the future of payments as we close out for today. And the future of payments is really interesting. Melissa and I think this is a amazing industry to be in because it is always changing, whether it's technologies like blockchain and cryptocurrency, whether it's embedded finance, whether it is a new great security technology for us to make transactions safer, more secure, faster, and more compliant with the regulations. We love doing that. You're already seeing companies expand into these areas like Visa and PayPal. You're seeing a handful of other companies that are making acceptance even faster. But a major focus has been in the embedded finance area and the embedded payments, making sure that the payments start to fall into the background. And so with that, what it does is it allows the people to focus on the experience and less on the payment, less building loyalty, increasing your revenue, and staying ahead of the competition. Now, here are some key points just to remember for today. 1, smooth payments, secure payments, reduce the friction, and it'll improve your customer satisfaction. 2, use the data that payments offers to get the insights that allow you to personalize and optimize that customer experience. 3, use loyalty programs and flexible payment options to turn one-time customers into repeat buyers. And 4, be sure to tailor your payment options specific to your customer, to your industry, and when possible, expand them for global reach and unlock new growth opportunities. Ultimately, payments are often overlooked area of opportunities. So whether you're just a small business or a global brand, there are simple, powerful ways to turn payments into a growth engine for you. And Melissa, welcome back. This was so much fun. I wish that I had the fabulous presentation. I had too many technical difficulties, but we'll roll that out to everybody afterwards.
No worries at all, my friend. And that was an awesome framing on why payments are so great. We intentionally, when we were going through who our speaker lineup was going to be, I said, I need payments enthusiasm right in the middle because there's darkness. And I always bring the darkness. I've known each other for a long time and here's some darkness. Don't get that excited over it. So thank you for injecting a little bit of levity back into the day. But one thing, I'm going to bring the darkness. I'm doing it again.
When you're talking, you had to do it.
It's what I do, right? But when you think about the algorithmic awesomeness that the systems you described are at taking me as a consumer on a journey, the book example is at the beginning was threatening as all get out. And I was like, oh my God, stop weighing in on my book choices. But now it's like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that's a really cool dovetail. I can now go learn about this topic.
Yeah.
the fraud as a software folks are using those same methodologies that we're doing for good in payments to do the
Yes.
same level of manipulation in the bad ecosystem. So for this is for my risk brothers and sisters on the phone, broaden the way that you think about the job that you do outside of the risk world and go get into Tedd's world and think about enablement, because our crime fighting needs to be thinking the way that the enablement guys are thinking about the world. Like, where can I put a payment? Where can I embed it? Can I put it in a watch? You remember 10 years ago? That was like, that's outrageous. What are you talking about? Now off we go. Criminals are going with you. Criminals are not studying us. So I always love to interject the hey, what's cool? With, hey, wait a minute, the cool stuff is where the criminals are going to be. We know this, it's been proven. So thank you for coming and sharing your enthusiasm for the space as always. And I hope
Yeah.
to see you very soon in person, like more than just one dimensional.
That would be fantastic. Well, listen, thank you so much for having me on. And as always, let me know how else I can help. I'm here to help.
Of course, and we'll share your materials and share your contact details out to the audience. And to the audience, and Ted, please feel free to stay for the next session. We have Visa and AGG, a fabulous law firm down
Oh,
in
it's going to be
Atlanta.
great.
They're coming up next. Yeah, so jump to the next link. Ted, my brother, take care of yourself. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.